Paranoid Disease, penned by Tony Wharton. Surrounded by so-called Miss and Mr. Know-it-all. I am deaf. I am deaf. I am deaf, but not stupid. I repeat countless times. My deficit is in grasping the full sound. I can feel your strong stares, full of hatred. That's all you do is turn and turn against my back, without asking if it's true. You are all biased. My families, who are you? My classmates, who are you? My passers-by, who are you? Must I prove it to you? My deficit is in grasping the same amount of information in my head as all of you. I must have the picture of the words to hear. I must have the experience of the words to hear. I must to do countless things to get where you are. Must I show you my deaf history? We were once labeled as shut-ins, shame, dumb, and so forth. It is only recently that in the Caribbean, they are trying to open their hands to the differently able community. You want to tell me that I receive special treatment by beating around the bush, by spreading rumors, by using me as an excuse for your deficit? I am deaf. I am deaf. I am deaf. I will tell you the secret of my success. There is nothing new. It is through the strength of Christ that I am performing through Him. Plus, the struggle, the failure, and the curiosity that is placed within me through Jesus, the creator of the whole universe, made me the way I am. Surely, I am nothing without Him.
This is something that all persons with disabilities who seek to be a part of mainstream society will go through, have gone through, and probably will forever go through. The reason is that many persons don't understand how we manage as persons with disabilities. My advice to this young woman and others like her is that there is nothing we can do to change other people. It is how we interact with them. Hold your head up and do what you know you are capable of doing. Eventually, they will realize, and even if they don't, you know that you are a person who is strong, empowered, and extremely gifted.
Many persons with disabilities continue to prove that they can do anything and go anywhere.
I have been as far as Malaysia, Japan. I've been to several of the Caribbean islands. I've been to Canada, the US, the UK, Italy, and hopefully, and South Africa. I could not forget South Africa.
Any particular experience stands out for you?
No, I just enjoy traveling. I just enjoy meeting new people, trying new foods, interacting with new cultures, learning about the different areas, and embracing whatever the country has to offer. So no one place, each place is different. Each set of people have different interests and activities, and it's always a very good experience.
Senator Eiffel, who plays many roles including consultant at the National Disabilities Unit Assistive Technology Department and Sunday School Superintendent of Church of the Resurrection in Green Hills, St. Michael, is open and candid about the way how some interact with differently abled persons.
You know, it is very interesting. People all over the world are the same when it comes to disabilities. You have the over-eager to help, the ones that don't know what to do, those that totally ignore you, and those who are trained enough to understand. In some countries, it's better than others. The US and Canada, the UK, they are very good about dealing with persons with disabilities in most respects. South Africa, the Asian countries, they tend to be very polite people, so generally their politeness overcomes their awkwardness when it comes to interacting with persons with disabilities. But in general, most people don't know how to deal with persons with disabilities. They assume that you're lesser intelligence, and so they treat you that way. Sometimes it comes in handy if you, for the extra help, but most times it can be very annoying and very distracting. But it's also about the attitude you take into the situation. If the attitude you take is one that you can handle yourself, most people settle down and they're able to interact positively with you. If you come across as a person who is unsure, uncertain, and unprepared, then it throws them for a further loop. So I would suggest to any person with a disability traveling abroad to make sure, talk to somebody else who has a similar disability, who's been to similar places, and get some advice, and just keep your stuff together.
She pulls in the door with the key in, unlock it. Pick up the key in. Right. You want keys? You got keys? Good luck. I'll use the keys.
Not every person who has a disability was born with that disability, just like how every amputee is not always a diabetic.
Barbadians, they have the concept that all amputees are diabetics. That is why they had to have the amputation. That's far from the truth. Most of the amputees are diabetics, but in some cases, you have to remove the leg because of cancer, poor circulation, or because of blood clots. And in my case, like the bone, the titanium that was put in my ankle, the bone in my ankle became infected, and that infected the entire leg. So that is why mine had to be amputated, because of infected bones. So there are various reasons.
Sometimes a minor accident at home can change a person's life forever.
In 2012, on October the 3rd to be precise, I had just returned from the gym, and I went to take out some garbage, and the night before that we had a lot of rain, so around the garbage can was wet, slippery, and I slid and broke my ankle on the left foot. So I was not convinced. That time I went down, I was lying, I fell. So by that time, I was not convinced that my ankle was broken. So I took it and put the foot straight. And then I go to get up, then it went on the other side. So like the ankle was broken on both sides. So then I was admitted to the hospital like a week after it happened. And I spent 6 weeks in the hospital.
After undergoing major surgery, she was once again admitted to hospital on October 1st, 2013, where she received more care for her foot.
So one morning I got up and I smelled this thing. And then I said, well, I'm going to wait until the team of doctors come in. And then they came and I said, listen, I've been here now a week and 2 days, and I smell something. This has to be gangrene stepping in. If my foot has to go, it has to go. Does not make sense keeping something that is no use to you. So then they did the operation, then the Saturday in that same week.
Depending on prosthesis, takes some getting used to.
This part in here is called a silicone. It's like a stocking. It's a bit stretchy. And at the bottom of it, I call it the key. It has a long piece that goes into the hole that has the toes and like the instep on it. So, but you have to make sure in order for it to fit as it should, like the night before or the day before, you're supposed to keep the stump wrapped with elastic bandage. That helps the stump to shrink and, like, you know, make it small and shape it as well. And as I told you, this part down here, I call it the key because that is the lock in there. If you look in there, you see a hole in the bottom. So this has to go down in there. You have to make sure it is in there, it is locked. Otherwise, you can get a fall.
It has been said that challenges often help you pursue your purpose. Ms. Phillips is one of the founding members of the Barbados Amputees Rehabilitation and Enabling Society.
But we have our objectives divided into two categories: social and educational. But I talk about the social. The educational now would be like inviting podiatrists, diabetologists, physiotherapists, prosthetists to speak to the group, you know, because we don't know everything. And at our last session, we had deputy head of the physiotherapy department at QEH. And he gave us so much food for thought. Things that we didn't know about the amputation. For instance, we learned how having an amputation could affect the way how your heart functions. And then, you know, we have a lot of members who are double amputees. Then if you're a double amputee, it's even worse, according to your heart, your blood pressure, you know. So those things we need to know, and all the members need to know. And everybody was so satisfied with that lecture, you know.
High on the agenda is pre- and post-counseling.
It is not being done, let me tell you. And, you know, it is inhumane to take someone to surgery. You might tell them, or you might not even tell them what you're going to do. And you're going to do one thing. And at the end of the day, when they catch themselves, something else is done. I mean, you know, that could affect you psychologically, mentally, emotionally. If you interview some of the persons who had amputations, you know, the stories, they're really horror stories. Because, you know, you should get that. I know sometimes, like, it might be an emergency. You might not have the time to give pre, but could there at least give post?
Although they may have to prove themselves more than the average person, these differently abled women are focused on their goals and pursuing a purpose.
Turn as usual. Okay. Feel as usual.